Uh-oh. Okay, we'll start with this. I'm sure that most of you have heard by now. Breaking, Jake Paul will face Gervonta Davis on November 15th at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta in an exhibition live on Netflix. Sources confirmed to Mike Kopinger. Talks for Paul to face Anthony Joshua collapse over network issues. Paul's last fight.
Network issues.
Why would the network be an issue? Well, it could be because Anthony Joshua boxes exclusively on the DAZN platform. I remember they reached that agreement some time ago, whereas this would be going down on Netflix, though, let's be honest. Who really believed that Jake Paul was going to have a fight? A legitimate fight with Anthony Joshua, a real fight. Him moving off of that to box Gervonta in an exhibition is more of what you expect from Jake Paul. The story is being met with some disbelief, some skepticism. Ryan Garcia said, "I strongly doubt this happens. No way Gervonta accepted 195 pounds. Gervonta is already small naturally, and you really think he will decide to balloon up to 195? You've got to be delusional to think this is going to happen." To which veteran boxing scribe Mike Kopinger responded, "It will happen. It's an exhibition. They'll just do what they did when Floyd had his exhibition with Logan. Floyd couldn't weigh more than 160 and Logan 190. Something like that. We've already seen this kind of a circus before." Yeah, you can do stuff like this when it's not a real fight. And it's not a real fight. It's an exhibition. It has no bearing on Gervonta Davis's record or Jake Paul's record. So, this effectively kills two stories, two potentialities. The potential for Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach 2, and the potential for Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Lamont and Anthony, respectively, will be moving on, and Gervonta will be moving into this Jake Paul exhibition. So let's establish something. It was never an either-or situation for Gervonta. It was never either you fight Lamont or you fight Jake. Gervonta, if he were confident, he would have fought them both. You had plenty of time to fight Lamont Roach over the summer months, then go into that Jake Paul situation in the fall. It was never necessary to pick one over the other. The reason he did is because he doesn't want to fight Lamont Roach again. You're not fighting Jake Paul now in an exhibition because of how bad you wanted to get revenge on Lamont Roach for upstaging you, for making you look bad. That Lamont Roach fight left Gervonta Davis spooked, and he doesn't want to fight in serious boxing matches anymore. You gotta figure that Netflix is gonna be paying them both very well for this exhibition, enough that this could be a retirement fight for Gervonta Davis. You don't make all this money with Jake Paul, then come back to regular boxing, real boxing, and roll the dice. You've never rolled the dice. And he isn't going to start after the Jake Paul fight. He thought he was playing it safe with Lamont Roach. He thought it would be easy. The moment he realized it wasn't,
He got the hell out of there.
does he have no shame? Does Gervonta Davis have no pride as a pugilist? I mean, just imagine if after the draw between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, Canelo decides to go box in an exhibition with Vicente Fernandez, and Gennady goes to do an exhibition with Grover from Sesame Street.
Ridiculous.
And that some people out there in the industry are actually trying to defend this. Ali Seckbach
That pole smoker.
took to his social social media and said, so many boxers have called out Jake Paul over the years, can't even tell you how many, so now you're mad about Tank? Make that make sense. Well, I don't think all these boxers that have called out Jake Paul over the years had prior engagements, had unfinished business with other fighters like Gervonta had unfinished business with Lamont Roach. Bringing up other fighters in a woulda, coulda, shoulda argument, a whataboutism argument, doesn't make this any better. It doesn't make it right. All it exhibits is you are not fit to cover the sport of boxing. You are too partial, too biased, to the point they need to get people like Seckbach out of boxing. They need to give boxing back to the actual journalists and let them cover it. The actual pundits, because this is not a journalist. This is a fanboy with a camera.
A retard.
This guy's not fit to cover the sport of boxing, and that's been evident for years, but this puts it over the top.
Suck his dick already, Ellie.
Don't forget the balls. That's where it's at for Ellie Sucksack, who so shamelessly defends Gervonta Davis in whatever he does for no other reason than Gervonta gives him interviews, than Gervonta gives him access.
Suck his dick already, Ellie.
For all we know, he probably already did.
Ew.
There is being a fan of a sport, a fan of a fighter. There's being a fan of a fighter, and then there's this.
A fan?
This ain't fandom, this is gay for pay. What self-respecting man, what man, who is a man, so shamelessly grovels at the feet of another man as much as Ellie Seckbach? Is that your claim to fame? Your life's highlight is that you got to rub elbows with Gervonta Davis.
You got to breathe the same air as him and smell his cologne.
Where's your dignity? Where's your self-respect?
Asking that question, you're assuming he ever had any.
And it gets worse. After the news broke, Lamont Roach took to his own social media and stated, "Told ya, LOL," posting 4 duck emojis, to which a very angry Ellie Seckbach responded, "Tank is about to get paid. What are you doing next?"
What are you gonna do next, Ellie? Wash Tank's balls?
To which Lamont Roach responded, "Fuck is you talking to me for? LOL. What are you doing next, Ellie? Zipping up his pants and getting off your knees?"
I want to say that I don't think anybody in this industry, I don't think anybody in boxing respects Ellie Seckbach as a professional, because he's not a professional, because he's not a pundit. He is not a journalist. He is just a groupie with a camera. And I don't think that anybody in the industry respects Ellie Seckbach so much as they tolerate him. What's the respect?
The only people that really tolerate him, put up with him, are the ones that he sucks up to. He's got a sort of Cheddar Bob thing going to where they know something's wrong with this guy, but they let him hang around so that he can feel like he's part of the group and part of the gang and good about himself.
Cheddar Bob, smelly Ellie.
Ellie, who was so mad that Lamont Roach has been proven right. Lamont said that Gervonta is ducking the rematch. Turns out he was right. A very angry Ellie Seckbach responded to that by saying, "No one is ducking you. Let's see if you can beat any top 10 fighter at 130 or 135 without getting gifts like you got with Hector Luis Garcia." The audacity of Ellie Seckbach to talk to a professional boxer this way for no other reason than the boxer wants his rematch. He wanted to run it back. It's Gervonta that didn't want to.
I don't know if this guy's on the spectrum or what. Does he have no situational awareness? The audacity to claim that Lamont got a gift over Hector, where Gervonta clearly got a gift over Lamont.
Any shots that you take at Lamont Roach, you also take at Gervonta Davis, because no matter how bad you try to make him out to be, Gervonta didn't beat him.
Do you understand that, stupid? That no matter how bad you think Lamont is,
Gervonta didn't beat him. And to a lot of people, they think he beat Gervonta. That's what they think. They saw Gervonta take a knee. They saw him scurry to his corner. They saw him make excuses afterwards. And now they're watching him bail on the rematch.
the nerve of this guy.
I think boxing would be a lot better off without Ellie Seckbach. That's what I think. This guy makes no attempt to be an impartial observer in covering the sport. He can't. Well, then he shouldn't be covering it.
If he can't.
He's like the slow kid in $1 Million Baby. You remember $1 Million Baby? Hilary Swank.
Clint Eastwood.
Very sad movie. There was a slow kid, always hanging around the gym, and they let him hang around because, made him feel good. Made him feel good about himself. That's Ellie.
Get him out of boxing.
I look at this as Ellie Seckbach crossing a line, an invisible line to where
Me and you as boxing fans are allowed to think whatever we want to think about the fighters because we're customers, we're consumers, and we are allowed our opinions. But it is quite another thing to engage in a row, an argument with one of the boxers.
Got this jackass running around with his little camera and his little microphone, trying to talk to the fighters, trying to gain access,
while disrespecting a fighter for wanting to fight. Make that make sense, Ellie.
He's lucky if Lamont Roach doesn't go upside his head, honestly, because I do feel like this is crossing a line. In your own corners, in your own spaces, behind closed doors, you can feel however you want to feel, but it's quite another thing to talk to someone like that.
It's not disrespectful to have your own mind and your own opinions. It becomes disrespectful when you impart that to the fighter.
But he's gone on the attack in defense of Gervonta Davis because he knows how this looks, and we all know what this means. You don't go over to Netflix, get a huge purse for an exhibition with Jake, then come back to regular boxing to make regular money. What this effectively heralds is he will not fight Lamont Roach after this.
It's a duck. By every quantifiable metric that characterizes a duck, this is a duck. He's using Jake to duck Lamont.
Don't lose sight of this, and don't forget that it was never an either-or situation where either you fight Jake or you fight Lamont. You could have fought them both. You could have taken care of Lamont over the summer months, but you were sandbagging it. You were dragging your feet. I knew he wasn't going to do it.
I said it in video after video. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. Lamont spooked him.
So now Lamont is free to move on. He can move into a Shakur Stevenson fight. Shakur Stevenson can proceed to take him to school, beat him. All the value in Lamont Roach right now is upstaging Gervonta Davis for not getting the job done, not beating him. And Shakur Stevenson can capitalize off of that. Shakur Stevenson's next fight is not set yet.
There have been preliminary rumblings about a move up to 140 pounds for a Teofimo Lopez fight, but to my knowledge, that fight is not yet set. So what Shakur can do before he leaves 135 for 140 is beat Lamont Roach, then move up. That's two high-profile scalps, in my opinion, two fights that Shakur Stevenson can win.
He can do that. And as stated, all the value in fighting Lamont Roach is upstaging Gervonta if Gervonta doesn't further embarrass himself in this exhibition, because that's the other angle of it.
I remember Mayweather versus Logan Paul. And Logan Paul's commitment to boxing was not akin to his younger brother's commitment to boxing. I mean, Jake has been in the ring a lot more than Logan. To the eye, he is more put together than Logan.
At the risk of sounding like I'm breaking down an actual fight as opposed to a circus and exhibition, it is safe to say that Jake Paul is a better boxer than Logan.
Logan looked like a big, clumsy mess in the ring, whereas Jake is coming along.
There are no winners and no losers in an exhibition, at least not on paper, but in the court of public opinion, if Jake goes in there and has any success against the little guy, anything at all.
Jake Paul took to his social media and stated, Gervonta, who has been disrespecting my name for too long. His nickname might be Tank, but I'm a FPV drone, and I'm about to disable Tiny Boy. Yes, he's one of the top pound-for-pound boxers in the world, but my motto is anyone, anytime, any place, against all odds.
What odds, you jackass? It's an exhibition.
And I like my odds. First, I am going to kill David, then I will go on to slaughter Goliath. By Goliath, I think he means Anthony Joshua, but I don't expect Jake to ever actually fight him.
Not in a real fight. What you gotta understand about Jake is that he's a lot smarter than he looks. He's not delusional, he's a troll.
When he says this stuff, he's trolling the entire boxing world, the entire boxing community, and the more infuriated they become with him, the more he gets what he wants.
Because he is a troll. He is looking to elicit reactions and capitalize off of them. So just imagine if all 190 pounds of Jake Paul manages to make Gervonta Davis look bad, even for an instant, even for a second. That may be our last memory of Gervonta Davis in the boxing ring. This looks like a retirement fight for Gervonta Davis. He's not going to go to Netflix and make all this money over there with Jake in an exhibition, then come back to regular boxing for regular money. He's not going to do it.
So whatever happens with Jake may end up being our final memory of Gervonta Davis in a boxing ring. And Jake is a troll.
He's gonna milk this for everything it's worth. He's gonna try to make you look bad if you let him.
You're saying this could be the last time we see Gervonta Davis in a boxing ring?
Well, he did start off this year saying that he wants to walk away. He wants to retire. That this could be his final year in the sport. And look at how he's closing it out. And who he's closing it out with. The usual suspects, the spin doctors, are already out, hard at work, trying to frame this as a win of some kind for Gervonta Davis. Dan, the boxing man, who I've mentioned in previous videos, big PBC guy, big Haymanite, said, if Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis actually happens, it will get more viewers on Netflix than Canelo versus Crawford will.
Is that accurate? Do you think that'll check out?
I don't know how accurate it is to say that Jake is bigger than Canelo Alvarez. I mean, a lot of people know Jake, but a lot of people don't like him.
Consider that we never even got a set of numbers for the Chavez fight.
There have been a few fights like that for Jake. The Tyrone Woodley rematch, the Anderson Silva fight. He's had a couple of fights that they weren't so much as a blip on the radar. One or two big ones in between.
To where I don't know that you can say that he's a bigger name than Canelo Alvarez. And the glaring disparity between Canelo versus Crawford and Jake Paul versus Davis is one fight is a real fight and one isn't. They're both on the same platform.
Either way, I think it's going to be big. But I don't know with any certainty that Jake Paul versus Gervonta draws more eyes to that platform than Canelo versus Crawford. For many years now, Canelo Alvarez's legions of fans have had to go through a paywall to see him fight. This is one of the rare instances where they won't have to.
Crawford's got fans too. There is that tribal element, that tribal taboo component of the Mexican fighter versus the black fighter.
Dan, the boxing man, is telling the story as if Crawford doesn't have supporters going into this thing, as if he doesn't have fans. There is a large contingent rallying behind him. But moreover, what the hell does Dan, the boxing man, care which event draws more eyes to it when one event is a fight and one isn't? One fight is a legitimate boxing match and the other is an exhibition.
This is not a flex.
That butterball just ducked Lamont Roach, a super featherweight, so he can go fight in a non-fight with Jake Paul. And that is not a flex, no matter how you try to frame it.
It's not a win.
This personal stake that some people have in the career of Gervonta Davis has more to do with living vicariously through him than boxing and being a boxing fan to watch boxing matches.
How is this a win for you, Danny? Don't you want to see Gervonta Davis make it right with Lamont Roach? Don't you want to see them run it back? You're telling me that you would rather he fight Jake because you're celebrating it.
You're celebrating it like you won something, like you won some sort of a sweepstakes. As a boxing fan, you should be livid. As a fan of Gervonta Davis, you more than me should be demanding that he fight Lamont Roach again. But you don't hold him to any kind of a standard because you're not really a boxing fan.
And after Gervonta Davis is gone, I'd be surprised if Dan the boxing man sticks around because Dan is not a boxing fan.
He doesn't feel as strongly about anybody else in boxing, so if Gervonta Davis goes, maybe Dan goes with him.
Good riddance.